Madam Speaker, I move that we recognize Representative Marissa P. Magsino of Partylist OFW for her interpellation. So move, Madam Speaker.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Madam Speaker. To our DHSUD family, magandang hapon po. And to our esteemed colleagues. Mr. Sponsor, may you yield to some questions po?
Gladly, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, Mr. Sponsor, today we need to construct a minimum of 6 million housing units to satisfy the constitutional directive to the state to ensure the underprivileged and homeless citizens shall have access to an adequate, safe, secure, habitable, sustainable, resilient, and affordable homes. Ang lahat po ng figure na ito increases as the population expands in time. Thus, the Pambansang Pabahay para sa Pilipino program, or 4PH, is spearheaded, of course, by our no less than President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos, and of course, spearheaded also by the Department of Human Settlement and Urban Development, or DHSUD, as a flagship program of our current administration. Taking it as a cue, the OFW Partylist forged a memorandum of agreement with DHSUD to participate in the program via the Pambansang Pabahay para sa ating mga OFWs, with the aim of securing slots in the national program for OFWs in the low income levels by way of endorsement and implementation assistance. As of date, the OFW Party List has officially endorsed 1,330 OFW applications out of the 10,000 first batch because only 1,330 were completed. We submitted to DHSUD and Pag-ibig Fund. These have been verified as members of Pag-ibig Fund except for 65 whose membership is contested for pre-qualification. I understand that the next step in the processing of these endorsements shall be the forwarding of the list of qualified OFWs to the proper regional offices of DHSUD in turn for endorsement to specific LGUs that will accommodate them. May I ask, Madam Speaker, Mr. Sponsor, may I be provided an update on the endorsement of our OFW party list that we referred to and what will be the next step, Madam Speaker?
Madam Speaker, as of today, we have 1,098 numbers of pre-qualified beneficiaries, OFW beneficiaries, as received as of today, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, Mr. Sponsor, after the endorsement of the 1,330 and was finalized by Pag-ibig, what is now the next step that we have to expect, Mr. Speaker? Madam Speaker, Mr. Sponsor.
After the pre-qualification process, Madam Speaker, the intended beneficiaries will be referred to the respective regional offices for matching as to the housing projects available, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, Mr. Sponsor, are there other developments to the implementation of the Pambansang Pabahay and its guidelines that this representation, the OFW party list, ought to be apprised about? Madam Speaker, Mr. Sponsor.
Madam Speaker, as of this moment, none.
Okay,
but if there is any guidelines to be issued later, the agency concerned will inform the proper beneficiaries or office as regards the guidelines to be issued later on.
Madam Speaker, building 1 million housing units every year for the next 6 years with all the logistical and administrative support required including the provision of subsidies to beneficiaries, is undeniably a gargantuan task on the shoulders of the department. While the proposed budget of DHSUD for 2024 in the amount of 2.61 billion is already increased from its current budget of 1.22 billion, I can hardly be confident if it will suffice for the department to fully discharge its mandates. Having said that, of course, with all the problems, issues that is concerning our pambansang pabahay para sa ating mga OFWs, I would like to fully support for the approval of the proposed budget of DHSUD for 2024 with the premise that our promise to the pambansang pabahay para sa ating mga OFW at sa ating 4PH will be realized in such a short time. It is not easy, but I know that with the leadership of our Secretary Jerry Acusar and all the attached agencies, we can do this, and I truly believe that this will happen with your leadership. Maraming salamat po, Madam Speaker, Mr. Sponsor. Maraming salamat po from the OFW Party List.
Thank you, and we appreciate the support of the distinguished colleague.
Please share, like, subscribe, and comment sa aking channel para updated ka lagi sa kaganapan sa loob at labas ng ating bansa. Hanggang sa muli, magandang araw Pilipinas!